Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and today we're going to be rolling some dice, collecting some money, and pushing our luck in a game of chance that sharpens math tallying skills. Double Done 151 is where money and mayhem make the math fun for the whole family. It's for 2 to 4 players, for ages 7 and up, and takes 10 to 15 minutes to play, and published by Semper Smart Games. Today we'll be doing a rule school where I'll teach you how to set up and play the game so that you don't have to read the rulebook yourself. Now I've placed timestamps below me in the description of this video just in case you want to jump to a specific section of the rules. Let's get started. In Double Done 151, you're trying to be the first player to acquire at least $1.51 onto your scorecard. Now to do this, players are going to be rolling dice into the felt-lined dice tray and adding them up, like a 5 and 3 gets us 8 cents. And that gets added to your risk it side, and you might be pressing your luck and rolling the dice over and over again, possibly adding more and more money. But you got to be careful, because if you roll doubles, you have busted and you lose everything in your risk it side. But you can decide to bank money in 25-cent or quarter increments into your bank it side. This money is now safe from any future double rolls. And the risk it side will continue on your next turn. And the first player to get $1.51 or more combining both sides of the scorecard is the winner. And there's many other ways to play, like randomizing turn order each round, adding 2 more dice to speed up games with 3 or 4 players, to have your own personal money pot to make change with, or to even play with real money. To set up, you're going to give everybody a scorecard. You'll take the top off and put the box in the middle of the table that holds all the money and the dice. You'll flip the top of the box over because it's going to be used as a felt-lined diced rolling tray, so you'll keep this close by. People will be rolling dice into it. We won't be using the Mayhem cards in your first game, so you can place these off to the side. The object of the game is to be the first player to have $1.51 or more, hence the 151. Now the bank it side holds quarters, and it's going to hold $1.50. And your risk it side, you'll be holding coins in there before you end up banking them. We'll talk about more about this in a minute, but the first player to get $1.51 or more entirely on their score sheet in a combination of either sides is going to be the winner. If you're playing with 2 players, to start the game, you'll select one of these sets of dice, either the white backs or the blue backs. There's no difference in dice, just pick the set you like. If you're playing with 3 or 4 players, at the end of this video, I'll go over how you end up using more of the dice, but you'll still watch this because I'm going to show you all the concepts now. Now, starting with the youngest player, and then going clockwise, each player is going to take a turn. On your turn, you're going to take the 2 dice, and you're going to roll it into the dice tray. And then you're going to see what it adds up to. So here, we have a 5 and 3. So that is going to be worth 8 because you add them up, so it's 8 cents. So you'll collect those 8 cents from the center pot, and you'll place those on the risk it side of your scorecard. There's the 8 cents. Now you have a decision to make. Do you want to press your luck and continue rolling, or do you want to stop and bank it? Let's press our luck a little bit more. So let's say we rolled again and we got an 8 to 7. We had those up 15. So we're going to get 15 cents and add it to our scorecard. And so there's the total we have in there from our rolls so far. Let's say we're going to press our luck again. And let's say we rolled a 3 and a 4, so we'll get 7 more cents and add it to our scorecard. Now when aiding into which coins to take, of course there is a money key at the bottom showing that the penny is worth a cent, the nickel, the dime, and the quarter. Now again, after every roll and after collecting money, you can decide whether to press your luck or whether to stop your turn and bank money. Now why would we want to stop and bank it? Because if you roll dice and you ever get doubles, like here, double 4s, you will lose everything on this risk it side. All of this would go back to the pot. So when you get a certain amount of money, it might make sense to stop pressing your luck and bank some money. Now as you can see on the bank it side, these hold quarters, and you can bank as many quarters as you can afford. In this case, we look at how much we have. We have 10, 20, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So in this case, we have a total of 30. And so we would convert 25 cents of those into a quarter and put it on the bank it side, and we'd leave the other 5 cents here, and it would be the next player's turn clockwise. Now, if on our next turn, on our first roll, we roll doubles, we're going to lose this nickel, and it's going to be the next player's turn. Now, if your risk it side starts getting a little full, you can make change with the pot. For example, we have 10, 20, and 5 pennies, so we have 25 right here. We could put those back into the pot and convert it into a quarter here, but remember, this is still on your risk it side, so if you roll doubles, you're gonna lose all of this right now. So let's say you've really been pressing your luck and you've got 2 quarters here, but you've also got 15 cents here and 3 pennies here. You could stop and bank, and what you'd do is you'd bank your 2 quarters like this, and you'd be left with this on your risk it to start your next turn. And remember, once you bank it, it's the next player's turn clockwise. Now let's say at a future turn, we have already banked $1.25. Remember, you're trying to get to 151. Now let's say we had 16 cents here, and we rolled our dice, and we got a 6 and a 4 for 10 cents. Now once we had this 10 cents here, we look and we see that we have 10, 20, 5, 26. That essentially is what we need to get to 151, because a quarter would get us a total of 150, and the penny would be 151. So you would automatically win because you're the first player to get 151 or more. And remember, that has to be within your bank it side and your risk it side together. And if you had rolled something that gets you even higher than that, it doesn't matter as long as you get 151 or higher. Between these two sides, you've won. Now, if you're playing with more than 2 players, you can add the second set of dice to speed up play if you're playing with those who are still learning math. So how this works is player 1 will hold 1 set of dice, player 2 will hold the other set of dice, and they both will roll them simultaneously. Yes, the dice can collide, and that's okay. Now, these 2 players will continue to take their turns until they're both done, and then they'll pass the dice clockwise so that players 3 and 4 will then be rolling and taking turns simultaneously. If you're only playing with 3 players, then that third player will roll by themselves. Now, if 2 players rolling at the same time both go over 151 on the same turn, the higher overall total wins. And if they're still tied, then the 2 players have a roll-off to see who gets the highest total on the subsequent rolls. Now, optionally, you can play with the Mayhem cards, and this helps you mix up player order so there's never an assurance as to when you're going to go next or who's going to go before you take your next turn. You'll use one of these cards for every player in the game. So if you're playing with a 4-player game, you'll play with all 4 of them. 3 players, you'll only use 3. 2 players, you'll only use 2 of them. For example, if you're only playing with 2 players, you'll use the first and second cards, and at the beginning, you'll shuffle those up, give 1 to each player, and you'll see who's going first and who's going second. After that second player goes, you'll shuffle them up again, and so that means that the player that went second last round might be taking a turn right again as the first turn in the second round. This works the same way. If you're playing with 3 players, you'll add the card that says third, and if you're playing with 4 players, you'll add the card that says fourth, again at the beginning of the round, shuffling them up, dealing them, and flipping them over. Now, if you'd like the younger players to work on more math skills, you can use the More Math mode. Now in this, each player is going to get their own personal money pot off to the side of them. It's going to consist of 6 quarters, 2 dimes, 1 nickel, and 4 pennies. Now all of those currencies are listed right on the back of the rulebook in case you forget. Now with this variant, after each roll, you're going to require each player to make proper change on their scorecard with their personal money pot. For example, if we had this here, we could change this 25, putting the 2 dimes and nickel back and taking a quarter from here and placing it here. Now the last mode is Make Money mode. Now if you have some extra change laying around and you want to encourage young players to practice mental math, you can place real change in the money tray and let the winners keep $1.51 or more after each win. Well, I hope this helped you dive right into Double Done 151 faster than you normally would if you had to read the rulebook yourself. And if you have more questions about the rules, you can go ahead and put them in the comments below, and myself or Semper Smart Games will try the best to answer them.